Gordon, Russia claims a recent airstrike wiped out the leader of the Islamic State Caliphate, but Russia's foreign minister cautions, even if it's true, it does not mean the end of ISIS.
That's true. Killing Baghdadi or Zawahiri and before them Osama bin Laden doesn't mean the end of terrorism. In fact, assassinating Baghdadi will certainly help the liberation of Raqqa, especially at this crucial time, when both the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces and the Syrian Arab Army advancing from north and southwest of Raqqa. Therefore, killing the head of the terror group, if it is confirmed, will spread panic among his loyalists and will cause a serious blow to the command center of ISIS. However, we shouldn't underestimate the strength of ISIS because the war against terrorism cannot achieve its goals only through force, but rather through a long-term process of modernization, secularization, and enlightenment. And this is not going to happen as long as Islam is hijacked by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, both countries exporting the radical ideologies of Wahhabism and the Muslim Brotherhood. So dismantling this phenomenon requires changing the leaderships in these countries. Now some would ask, why Riyadh and Doha are in diplomatic war? This battle is like the ongoing war between ISIS and Al-Qaeda. They both share the same ideology and goals, but they differ on certain political and economic details. In the case of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, it's obvious that both countries support terrorism, but they have different proxies in the MENA region, and both sides operating over stronger influence in the region. This is like the competition between Pepsi and Coca-Cola or Burger King and McDonald's. Same shit, different smell. Now this crisis could help Syria to some extent, but we have to wait for the outcome of the conflict. If Saudi Arabia succeeded to swallow Qatar, that means there would be a stronger and united GCC against Syria and Iran. But if the situation is deteriorated, it could cause a serious rift among the GCC countries, and this will certainly help Syria. At the end, I would like to address two important events. Number one, the US coalition is carpet bombing Raqqa using phosphorus bombs on residential areas without any consideration to hundreds of thousands of civilians being used as human shields by ISIS. But what's more dangerous is that the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces allowing ISIS to escape from Raqqa through certain corridors to the Syrian desert, either to Palmyra or Deir ez-Zor. That's why the Syrian army closed on the strategic town of Rafah, in a bid to zip this area by advancing towards Deir ez-Zor. At the same time, the Syrian army is also advancing from Wadi al-Ubayya towards Qubbat Arak and then to Deir ez-Zor. Second event is the Syrian army successfully blocked the advancement of the US-backed new Syrian army towards Abu Kamal. And despite the American strikes against Syrian army positions in a bid to stop its advancements, Syria has officially foiled the US-Israeli project in southeast Syria.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And by doing so, Syria and Iraq once again connected for the first time in the last 4 years. My friends, that was all for today. I hope you liked it. This episode was in collaboration with Damascus Now Facebook page. It's one of the greatest Syrian news page on social media. Thanks a million for the support. See you next time.